بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. This will be Surah Zilzaal. Surah Zilzaal was talked about yesterday. We did not complete the surah, so inshallah today we will be completing the surah of Surah Zilzaal. Last time we talked about a lot of the people that have the criticism of not accepting that there will be a hereafter. For example, they don't believe the sky is going to fold, it's going to smash, it's going to collapse. They don't think about the sun and the moon being smashed together. They don't have this belief that the earth will be finished and be recreated again. They don't believe in the afterlife because they don't think there's going to be a recording. Who's going to record all of our actions here, and then all of that will be relayed to us on the hereafter? They don't believe in all of this stuff, and then so they resort to shirk. If there is a hereafter, then at least we've got our idols to help us on the day of judgment. These are some of the things that they believe in. So Surah Zilzal comes to try and shake the people's beliefs up, saying this is true. Whatever you're thinking about is true. It's not going to be if it's going to happen. It's about when it's going to happen. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about regarding the earth being shaken violently. So then He wakes us all up. He wakes us all up regarding, it's a reminder for us that, we have got to make our own priorities in life to do with deen and religion and Islam. So all of these things need to be put forth into our hearts and in our minds as well. So when it's going to happen? And then we talk about regarding how the earth will throw up all of its loads and its burdens. All of the human bodies that have been buried there will come out at the time on the day of judgment, and then you'll be running around and so forth. And then the people will think, what's going on? What is this day? What's happening to me? Why did I get chucked out of the earth? And then they'll have all of these thoughts in their mind. And then the earth will start to narrate all of the stories that happened on the back of the earth. The earth will start to speak, whether it's testifying in front, talking to Allah or talking to the person that actually done the good thing or the bad thing. So it testifies against the person or for the person as well. So we talked about the earth having this ability on the day of judgment. And these are the 4 ayats that we covered yesterday. So today inshallah we'll cover the rest of the few ayats. I'll mention a story at the end as well regarding how the actions of man, they have an effect on the person as well. So last time we talked about, remember this, that the increasement of the warning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is increasing during the surah. So at the beginning it's like إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, when the earth will shake violently. Then he mentions in the 4th ayat, يَوْمَئِذٍ, on that day. Now it's going towards more specifically, on that day this is going to happen, on that day and so forth. So now it's more, the warning level has now risen. In the next ayat Allah mentions here, بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ أَوْحَى لَهَا, why is it narrating the stories which has been told on which has been happening on the earth. So earth will do this because your Rabb will command her to do so. It's a command of Allah. Whatever the earth will do, it's a creation. Remember this, that every single thing here we find out, it's a creation of Allah. So the creation of Allah, the earth is the creation of Allah. So once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructs the earth to do something, it's going to do it. It's through the ijazat and the permission of Allah that it's one of its the reasons why the earth was created. One of its reasons is now so it can testify all of its recordings that it has, and now testify whether it's against the person or whether it's for the person, whether the person done a good deed or whether a person done a bad deed. So it kind of drops a hint, it indicates towards the earth. And this is awha. Awha comes from iha, it's like a hint, it's dropping a hint. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells, it's like hinting and indicating towards it that it's time to testify, it's time to go and tell your stories, it's time to tell the truth and reveal the truth of what has been happening on the earth. And because of the fact that your Rabb gives the earth a hint, so this is why it starts to spilling its beans, let's say. The word spill the beans. So now it's time to spill the beans, whatever happened on the earth. So that was بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ أَوْحَى لَهَا. On the 6th ayat, Allah mentions يَوْمَئِذٍ يَصْدُرُ النَّاسُ أَشْتَاتًا لِيُرَوْا أَعْمَالَهُم. On that day, people will return in different groups to witness their actions. This is a rough translation. So on that day again, we're talking about the day of judgment. And the people will start to return. Return where? To the plains of resurrection, where everyone will be resurrected, the judgment will take place, everyone's going to return from there. So yasdur nas. Yasdur means to return. So when you go into one place and you return back to it. So this is now what you call yasdur. So they will return back towards the plane of resurrection. Ashtatan, yani is different groups. So remember this, that again the warning level has already risen again, because Allah mentions yawma idin, on that day. So it's risen again, the level of warning. And then he mentions here that they go towards where they're supposed to be judged, or that place where they're supposed to stand on the day of judgment. So we mentioned last time that imagine the cracking open of the earth, and you're flung out of the earth, of your grave, onto the plains of resurrection, and now you have a certain specific spot where you're supposed to stand, and you're supposed to witness what you're supposed to witness on that day. So there's a certain spot for you. So you're supposed to go to that spot. So yasturun nas, and they're going to go in groups. Ashtata means groups. Now different categories. So example, you have a category of a certain group in one side, and then different categories on different. Even when you're coming to the categories of the non-believers, there will be small categories, and from the believers there will also be small categories. So different categories for different people, and all dispersed and broken apart and so forth. So what kind of categories are these, and why will there be different categories? The Mufassirin and the people that explain, the Mashayikh, the scholars that explain these ayats of the Quran, they mention there that you'll be ranked according to your deeds. So example, the deeds that you've done. So if they were with sincerity, if they were done with devotion, with more concentration, with more focus inside of it, then those actions, those people with those actions, they're put in there in a certain group, and you're all together. You're all together in one place. So all those people of a similar level on this earth, similar level of worship, similar level of good deeds, so all in one place. And then you have the different level, maybe a medium level. Their worship is there, and all those people are going to be in that group. And then you're one who's of a lower level of worship. They're also going to be together in that. So you're going to have different categories. So all of the ashtat, and you have different groups and different categories. The kuffar and the unbelievers, they'll also have their own groups. The worst of them, the biggest enemies of Islam is one. Those ones that just didn't believe. They were just bumbling along with their lives and so forth, but they didn't really accept. So there was another category, but they didn't do any harm to the Muslims. Once that done harm to the Muslims, they'll be in another group. The munafiqeen, those hypocrites, will be in another group. So these are different groups which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alludes towards. So even though you're going to be in groups, you're still going to feel alone, because you're going to be in a certain place where it comes towards you have people around you, but still, because you're going to be, that judgment happens alone. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this as well. And remember this, that at the same time, on that day of judgment, you'll find that people's faces will also be different. So the people that are believers, their faces will be more of a shining feature, white. And then when you're coming to the non-believers, they'll be of a dark feature, meaning they'll have dark, they will have this nur on that place, on their face. So you'll have different things. You'll tell who's a mu'min. You'll tell who's a believer on that day. Shining faces, shining bodies, and so forth. And then we have the darkness on one side, then you can tell that's a non-believer. So you can tell the differences where and who's who and so forth. Then he mentions here, لِيُرَوْا أَعْمَالُهُمْ. So he's standing there. You're standing there, everyone's standing there in their places. Now what you're going to do there, you're going to see your a'mal. You're going to see your actions. So your actions are put in front of you. Now there's quite a few different meanings regarding this. Some of them have mentioned regarding to witness their actions, yani the consequences of their actions. Some have mentioned this and so forth. But then the main thing here is that Allah mentions here a'mal. A'mal are certain actions which you knowingly done. So there's conscious actions that you have already done, not the ones that you don't really know of. So it's a'mal is those things. So you know these things, so then you will see them. Whether it's in a form of a book and you have the book and you're seeing in front of yourself the book of deeds, you see the good things there and you'll see the bad things there. So you have the good and the bad. And then you'll also see in the book that, and this is the mercy of Allah, that you'll find out that amongst the one side of the book, you'll find all of your bad deeds that you've done. Every single one of them. And then he mentions here that all of those bad deeds that you've done, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has cancelled all of those because you made a tawbah, because you asked for forgiveness, and because you done this, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then cancelled all of this. So you'll have everything in front of you. Everything will be there. And also at the same time, Allah's mercy will be there, saying, look, I've cancelled all of these things for you. All the things that you've done bad, I've cancelled them because you've done a tawbah. Because you've done tawbah salah. And then all of your good deeds, you only done 1 or 2. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to multiply them by 10, or by 100, or by 700, or by 7 million, and so forth. And Allah's going to say, look, that one, I'm going to multiply. So we have so much of the list of this, and you will see all of this. Some scholars have mentioned that on the Day of Judgment, when you have your books, when you have your book in your right hand, and then the people are seeing it, then what happens? They'll hold it in their right hand, and they'll go into sajda. And they get back up and they look at it again. Why? Because they've seen all of the bad deeds that is on your one side of the page. It's all been wiped out, and it's moved on to the good part. It's called the good list, the good deeds list, and it's gone there. So you make sajda and you make shukr and gratefulness towards Allah that He's done this. So you'll see everything on that there. لِيُرَوْا أَعْمَالُمْ. You're witnessing your actions. So this is now, all of this is happening. Your minuses, your credits, your debits, all of this is happening now, and you're seeing it in front of you. So this is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions many times in the Quran that He will not do any oppression on that day. So if a person has done something bad, and if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to punish you for that bad, He's not going to be multiplied. It's not going to be, you've done that bad, you'll get punished for that bad. But when it comes to good actions, even something small, you think that it's something small, or you say something is a good action, is a good character that you show. You just said Salaam alaikum to somebody. You just said a good action and you smiled at your Muslim brother. That's written down there. And then Allah says, I'm going to multiply times however much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides to multiply. It could be 10. It could be more than that. In Ramadan, it could be even more than that. So doing it in Ramadan gets multiplied. Doing it in the Haram in Mecca, multiplied again. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us opportunity and chances to do this. So this is what we will see. The consequences of our actions, what we'll see. After that, they will be, therefore, preceded either towards Jannah or Jahannam, depending on the group they're with. So you have a good group, you'll go all together, inshallah, towards Jannah. Or if you're in the bad group, then you'll be with those people. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentions also, Al-mar'u ma'a man ahabba. A person will be with whom he loves. On the Day of Judgment, you'll be resurrected for those people that you loved in the dunya, that you loved in this world. You'll be raised with them. So example, you can be very careful about where your love lies. The heart is always inclined towards different things. But if you have the love of Allah, the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the love of the Sahaba, the love of pious people, the love of good people, and you're having a good company and so on, and that love comes in, then you'll be raised with those people. If a person has love for those who are who are superstars, or they are famous people, they're non-believers, or they're sinful people, they are open sinners, and you have love for those people, you have love to be with those famous people, those rich people, those people with status and honor and so forth, then, and you have all of that, then he mentions here that you will be also raised with those people. So example, for a lot of the youth, they follow football, and they follow different sports and so forth. So you have different, whether it's cricket or some, so they have love for those people. They have a lot of love for those people, and they want to follow their lifestyle and so forth. So be very careful regarding the love and where you put your love. You must put your love in the correct place. Yes, it does get attracted to different things, and you've got to be very watchful of that. And then there's different ways of trying to tackle that, because love is something which is very hard to, it's easy to try and get, but it's very hard to get rid of. But a person must have that effort and must encourage a person to try and talk about those things which he loves most. So if he talks about Allah, if he talks about the Sunnah, if he talks about Islamic things and all of these things, then be very careful about. He talks about then this comes inside of the heart. This will come inside of the heart. So if you come this inside of the heart, then other things will leave. Other things will start to leave. That's why it's very important to try and talk about these things more. They'll enter inside of the heart. Once it enters inside of the heart, then it helps a lot. Then it will help when the love of the good things will come inside of the heart, and you have the hatred of the sin. So example, if you're loving sinning, or if you're loving doing these things, then to talk about the opposite, or to talk about its punishments, it will help. It will help the health of the heart, the spiritual health of the heart. That's why it's very important to watch what goes inside of the heart. It's natural for things to come in. It's the problem. Problem is when you keep it there. So example, a lot of things will come through the mind. Just don't keep it in the mind, let it go. Same with the heart. Those love for different things will come in the heart. It's natural for man, for things to come in his heart. But we let it go. We try not to keep it there, and we ponder over those sinning things or some things we love, and then we try and leave it. That's why we say that when it comes to wealth, wealth is not a bad thing. Money is not a bad thing. It should come in our hands, it's fine, but don't let it come into our hearts. So this is the ultimate goal that we want to try and reach. There's steps there, and inshallah we'll try and reach that steps. The more effort you make, the more good deeds you do, the more good company you keep, and the more you talk about Allah and Islam and the Sunnah and so forth, inshallah your heart will become more spiritually more healthier. So we try, we do make the effort, we make dua, and we make as much as effort as possible inshallah regarding this. This is to do with the heart, and you'll see on the Day of Judgment. So the Day of Judgment is such where you'll be raised with those people that you love. So be careful regarding those people that you have this attraction towards. The last two ayats is a very famous couple of ayats. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, and remember this is very, it's to do with the beginning of the surah was to do something really big earthquake. Something which is zilzaal, and he wakes you up, it shakes you up violently, supposed to shake up your heart and so forth. And then it ends in something to about very minuscule, an atom's worth. Now we're going to go something which is very small. So from something big until something very small, we're going to end the surah. So Allah mentions in the 7th and 8th ayat, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. Then whoever has sincerely done an atom's weight of good will see it. وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى. And whoever has done an atom's weight of evil will see it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about these two deeds, whether it's good, whether it's bad. You will see those deeds on the Day of Judgment. How big, how small, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just gives an example of also how small. An atom's weight is probably, at that time was probably the smallest creation. At that time was the atom. So they're giving the example of an atom's weight. Maybe now it can be even more broken down. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about something even so minuscule, something so tiny, that's going to be there on the Day of Judgment, and you will see it. So mithqal dharra, this is the word Allah mentions here. An atom's weight, let's say. So, and mithqal is like a tool of measure. So it's like a weight. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this. Then he mentions here that ya'amal. We mentioned amal means something you done knowingly, intentionally. Nothing which is unintentional, but intentional. So we're talking about regarding that. A speck. We're talking about something very small. That's how small we're talking about. So sometimes a small action. So a small action of smiling, which is something good. So that will be put on the Day of Judgment on your book of deeds. And you'll have that there, that you smile at your Muslim brother, I'm going to reward you. Allah said, I'm going to reward you, and reward you abundantly just for that good action. One of the most weightiest things on the scales of deeds is good character. So smiling is part of good character. Showing respect and honor, saying Salamu Alaikum is good character. Sending peace and so forth. Doing good acts. The character is huge for us. And it's very weighty for us. And this is what we need. If we have this good character, then you'll see a lot of weight on the side of the good side when we're weighing our scales on the Day of Judgment. So Allah talks about khair. So even though it's a small thing, which is naturally good, we know it's a khair. Allah talks about shar, which is evil. Something which is evil. So something we're talking about universally known, which is bad. Lying, this is universally known as bad and so forth. So you will see it, but at the same time, you will understand it. So sometimes you see something, but you don't understand it. So this time now is you'll see it and you'll understand. You know exactly what that time was when you done it, which situation you done it, what time you done it, what place you done it. Everything there will be put in front of you. You done this at that time. You done this at that time. So this is what you will see. So you will see all the bad deeds that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave as well, and all the good deeds that Allah multiplies as well. There's so much detail in the books. So much detail. Allah mentions in another part of the Quran that مَا لِهَذِا الْكِتَابِ لَا يُغَادُ صَغِيرًا وَلَا كَبِيرًا. What is this kitab that I have? This book that I have. The smallest things it has, the biggest things it has. He has everything inside. So much detail. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you will see all of this on the Day of Judgment. And remember this, that there are two types of, or a few groups which Allah makes hisab of, judges. You find those people that come on the Day of Judgment. It will last for them a few moments, a few minutes. They'll be right there in front of Allah. Allah will say, don't worry, I know exactly who you are. You can go straight to Jannah. You can go straight to Jannah. Make us, we ask Allah to make us the part of that group as well. And then you have those people that are now going up towards Allah and judging. And Allah says, I'm going to open up all of your books of deeds, and I'm going to show everybody your whole deeds and what you're doing. Your good deeds and bad deeds, and everyone will see it. And that's a punishment in itself. Everyone looking at your deeds is a punishment. Allah says, that's enough punishment for you. Now you can go Jannah. That was your punishment. That's also there. You find that other person will come along, and he says that once he's opening up, and everything will get opened up. And then he'll be sent to Jahannam for a while, and then after a while, once he's cleansed, then he'll go to Jannah. And you find those non-believers being straight to Jahannam. Straight to Jahannam, and some people will be recorded, and then it goes straight to Jahannam as well. So you find different groups on the Day of Judgment as well. Remember, this is the mercy of Allah, that Allah gives us chances to multiply our deeds and actions and so forth. Even on the Laylatul Qadr, it's more than 1,000 months. It's more than our lifespan. Allah gives in one night. So it's again, Allah gives opportunities and so forth regarding this. So who can do this except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So Allah talks about all of these things. I'll end on this one story. And this one story is to do with how we can realize that even a small action, any small action, we shouldn't trivialize. Whether it's good or whether it's bad. Whether it's good or whether it's bad. So example is the story of the frog. You find that there's a frog. And usually when you find frogs, there was an experiment done on frogs that they found that there was a boiling water. So they got water in a bowl and they boiled it. So they had boiling water inside. So they put the frog inside of the boiling water. Once the frog went inside the boiling water, then it realized and it jumped straight back out. It jumped straight, it was something wrong. It was something which was dangerous, harmful, and it jumped straight back out. So what happens is that the story goes that they tried this experiment, and the frog, they put a different bowl there, another new bowl. And in this bowl was like a normal temperature water. Nothing which is too hot, but nothing too cold at the same time. So then they put the frog inside of this bowl. And what they do is they heated it up slowly, very slowly. So over time, the frog is still inside. And it's now heating up. And slowly it starts to boil. But what happens is, once it starts to boil, the frog does not jump out. The frog does not jump out, and he dies. Doesn't jump out and he dies. So this is now how the hal and the condition of the frog is. When we look at this ayat of the Quran, you tend to see that if you see a frog, you'll see that it's something which is dangerous, which is big. We tend to see, oh, it's a big sin. Oh, it's something which is haram. It's alcohol. I'm never going to touch it. It's a pig. It's swine. I'm never going to go with it. But when it comes to the small deeds, it's just a small bad deed. I can continue with it. So when we gradually get ourselves in a bad situation, we don't even realize it. Sometimes we're doing something so small which is bad, but it's continuous. So all of these things are continuous, and it's having an effect. And now it's building up, almost to like a boiling point for us. So it's a big boiling point for us. We don't even realize how we even got there. Now we're drowning. In certain sins. We realize it was such a small sin that it took us from here to here to here to here. Look where I ended up. So example, the very famous story of how a person was looking after a woman. And he was a very pious man. He looked after this one because I'll look after her. And he was in the other house. So what happens as the story goes is that one thing led to another, and then they started to look at each other, then they started to meet each other, and then afterwards that happened is that they eventually committed zina, and after the zina, then the child was born. Then eventually he couldn't live with the child and a lady being born and so forth. Then they lead to killing. The killing lead towards in killing in front of the king at that time, and the king would then told everyone the story of how he was, and look how his honor got completely humiliated. And at that time he said, before I kill you, Shaitan came, and then he said, leave Islam, and then he left Islam. So look why something so small can lead towards all of something so big. So we're saying that small things, don't trivialize it at all, whether it's good or whether it's bad, but don't trivialize these bad actions and the good actions. The big sins we see and we stay away from very easy, but the minor sins, our attitude, what's the big deal regarding this? So it's once, twice, it goes to hundreds of times, 1,000 times, millions of times we can do these certain things. So this is why we've got to be very scared. The Sahaba, the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, were very scared to the smallest mistakes that used to make. The smallest mistakes, used to be very scared regarding it. It's very easy for us to say, we're never going to drink in our life, wine and so forth. I'm never going to have pig and swine and pork and so forth. I'm never going to have it. But when it comes to looking at the wrong thing, no, it's something that I have to do. Oh, what about shaking a woman's hands? No, it's something I have to do. It's gentlemanly and so forth. And there's different things which lead towards other sins. It leads towards other sins, especially zina. When it comes to zina and fornication, Allah mentions in the Quran, La taqrabu zina. Don't even go near zina. Allah doesn't say don't do zina. Don't even go near it. Why? Because those steps that you take near it, you're going to fall inside. You're going to fall into it. So that's why you've got to be very careful about those deeds that lead to other ones as well. You've got to shut the door from before, close the door completely up. Once that door is completely gone, now you don't want to open that door again. Because once that door opens, then the whole thing will come through and it flies through and you'll be trapped completely. And it's very hard to get out. Your honor is at stake. Humiliation. A lot of things can happen to you which is not good for your mental health as well. So these are some of the things which I've mentioned regarding Surah Zilzaal, which is to do with the earthquake. So it starts off with an earthquake, shaking violently, and it should shake something inside of you, that I need to do good actions because that day is coming. That day will come. And then talks about the earth throwing up its load, and we're gonna come out on that day of judgment and so forth. Then the insan will be shocked and in awe of what's happening on the day of judgment, and that's how the condition will be on the day of judgment. And then it starts to testify against us. Testify, he done this on this part of my earth, he done this on that part, or he done good as well. So it goes on both sides. And because it's the permission of Allah and it gives an indication, so it goes and follows the permission and the order of Allah. And then it talks about regarding those people that will be different groups, and you'll be in there and you have the different groups of good people and not so good people, and then the bad people and so forth. And then it talks about regarding the minuscule of actions, whether it's good, whether it's evil, those things you will see on the day of judgment. So you'll have everything there in front of you on the day of judgment. These are some of the lessons that we learn from Surah Zilzaal. We ask Allah subhanahu to give us tawfiq to act upon what has been said. Subhanallah bihamdi, subhanallah bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma rabbana atina fi dunya hasana وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إني على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم حاسبنا حسابا يسيرا. Ya Allah, grant us an easy judgment on the day of judgment. Ya Allah, save us from the punishment of the fire and enter us into Jannah. Ya Allah, protect us from the shayateen in this world and the harm in the grave and the harm in the akhirah as well. Ya Allah, make it easy for us in this world and make it even more easy for us in the akhirah. Make us successful in this world, make us successful in the akhirah. Ya Allah, be pleased with us in this world and show your love and your gratefulness and your greatness towards us on the day of judgment, your mercy on us on the day of judgment. Ya Allah, Make it such that we're now a part of the group that goes straight to Jannah without any hisab, without any judgment, and we're staying away, far away from Jahannam. Ya Allah, we ask for your forgiveness and acceptance of all of our good actions. Subhanallah bihamdi, subhanallah bihamdik. نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.